where his remains are. He said the place is not kept well, and the peacocks that he even left for us, the peacocks are hungry, malnourished, walking around.
Interesting.
And all
Are
of
those
this.
peacocks are still alive from 50 years ago?
They're descendants of the peacocks. The last time I visited the place, the peacocks were supposed to be 3. I saw only 2, and later it's not even 1. So they said they don't know what's going on. When was the last time you went to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum?
Oh, it's been a while. When was the last time? I think when I was in, must be Signal High School.
Oh, then that's long.
Yeah, extremely long.
Because, Charlie, the things are just breaking down here and there. And it's not looking good. In fact, there was a tree that was planted by the late Mugabe, Robert Mugabe, at that Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. And the tree is just so as hungry as the peacocks I saw. No leaves, just the tree. So that's why they are saying they want to rebury Osajifo, so that Osajifo will smile.
So they'll take him somewhere else, or what?
I honestly don't know. The CP people will have to tell us as we go on the show. But welcome.
Right.
All is
It's
well.
another day.
I tell you.
It's a wet morning.
Wet morning.
Yeah.
Wet Thursday morning.
Extremely wet.
I'm telling you. And once again, we apologize to our listeners yesterday because of that technical hitch. We were off air for most part of the morning show, and in the 6 a.m. news as well. At a point, we went off, and some of you gave us the feedback that you were hearing some other frequency on 92.7. We've taken that into advisement. We will follow it and see what happens with that investigation to exactly what led to some other radio station interfering with our frequency yesterday morning. What do we have in the Finder newspaper this morning?
On the front page of a Finder newspaper, Labour Front and Ease worrying. That's according to the Employers Association of Ghana. Government organized labour must dialogue. It has the CEO of the Employers Association, Alex Frimpong's photograph on the front page accompanying the story. Also, new substation for UGMC surrounding communities thanks to MEDA, and GCB Bank takes steps to control NPLS. Those are the quick stories on the front page of a Finder newspaper. Let me get quickly to the Daily Guide newspaper. So, free cocoa beverages for basic schools. See page 6. Wow.
Free cocoa beverages.
I don't know if they are sort of playing back or it is something else. I'm curious to find out the details of this one.
I see.
I'll get into it shortly.
Please.
Now, government outdoors austerity measures. Also on page 6 of a newspaper. And then the banner headline, Boga MP fights injunction. It has James Ejikwesin's photograph here. Details of the story on page 3. NDC not better managers, according to Boabinye Samuel, Communications Director of the NPP. And no new COVID-19 case on admission as we speak. Dr. Kuma Abwaje of the Ghana Health Service is saying.
Okay. When you have the Daily Graphic newspaper this morning, says the banner headline story, Quest for Sustainable Growth. Guess who is talking? Professor Michael Quay, former Speaker of Parliament, says we need neutral development commission. Professor Quay advocates. So what's going to be the job of the National Development Planning Commission? It says a neutral development commission. Former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Michael Quay, has proposed the establishment of an independent National Development Planning Commission that will craft development programs devoid of political interference. He said the members of such a commission should be appointed from independent sources, including academia, civil society, and religious bodies, and must be autonomous. He noted that the politicization of the NDPC and the abandonment of the various projects started by predecessor regimes were greatly hurting the nation. You see, the annoying part is that it's the taxpayers' money that is used to start all these projects that are not continued by subsequent governments.
True.
And we see all of these abandoned projects there to the detriment of the Ghanaian. And well, I'm sure he has his own reasons why he's proposing an independent commission, but we don't need to create another commission. You see, that's what we are doing in this country. Like what the AMA has done, they're going to form some army of sanitation people when there's already a structure. Let the existing structures work. It's always going to create something else. So what's a neutral development commission? When there's an NDPC, fix the problem with the NDPC. If you think that they are not relevant, scrap them off, and then you bring the independent one you are talking about. Government keen on renewable energy penetration. President study discovers organic fertilizer for yields. And MPP elects constituents. That's the executives today. So it begins today, correct?
Yes.
But there are some constituencies that are going to take part in the elections. About 2 of them in the northern and Savannah regions.
And yesterday, Kwadaso also, were agitating. Some of the aggrieved aspirants say the officials must call off the election in the area because many of the aspirants were unable to get their forms through. They say they submitted to the office. The officials declined to receive the nomination forms, and so they want the party to hold on to suspend election in Kwadaso specifically until after the resolution of the matter. In fact, even in that constituency, I think there's an outstanding matter in court that has to be dealt with as well.
And Yendi as well, we understand, and some of the party executives in the your constituency.
Dom
Kwabenya. They are saying that there's some grand scheme to sabotage the absentee MP.
That's right.
Yeah, so that one too is there. Yeah, what do you have in the details of?
So this Daily Statement newspaper, let's make SOEs sustainable. SOEs, state-owned enterprises. That's according to the Public Enterprises Minister. Public Enterprises Minister. Yes.
There's actually a minister in charge of public enterprises?
Yes, please. His name is Joseph Kujo. And he is captured on the front page of a Daily Statesman making this particular, points. And he addressed a press conference yesterday, I think.
So what does he do?
Well, he's in charge of public enterprises.
The state-owned enterprises that are running losses?
Yes, please.
And they are not filing their financial reports?
Yes, please. And that's why he's saying they should be sustainable. He's
sustainable how?
Charging them to be sustainable. We'll get into that shortly. Bank of Ghana cautions the public against CD coin, and Dom Kwabenya declared flashpoints as NPP holds constituency elections today. It has a photograph of the NPP Greater Accra Regional Chairman Divine go home. And so the Newsday newspaper also on the front page, between Mahama and Dufour, pecs and peccadillos. I think it's a feature that we will be finding out shortly in the page 3 of the newspaper specifically. And under 1D1F, 11 pharmaceutical companies receive 415.3 million Ghana cedis support for expansion. It has the Minister for Trade's photo here. And there's also CID probes national security couple. So that's some of the stories on the front page of a Newsday newspaper.
Yes.
So let me just quickly get into the Daily Guide newspaper. I'm curious about
the drink.
Yes, the free cocoa beverages story. So it says, Niche Confectionery Ghana Limited has sealed a deal with the Ministry for Education to supply enriched, ready-to-drink cocoa beverages to basic school children across the country. Emphasis across the country. The memorandum of understanding was signed last week, allowing Niche Confectionery Ghana to supply its ready-to-drink beverages to 1.8 million primary school children in cocoa-growing communities before extending it to many other areas across the country. And so that's this story.
Look,
the agreement is in line with the President Akufo-Addo's vision of ensuring that every Ghanaian child has access to chocolate. It also represents a big push for the cocoa sector as it sets a tone for increased domestic processing and consumption of cocoa.
Free cocoa beverages. In 2017, in fact, before the NADO got into power, this is one of the promises. They announced that government will soon roll out programs that will see every school-going child from basic to secondary level enjoy free chocolate a day.
Yes.
One chocolate, one child. Yes, that's the one this, one that. This is one of them. Where is the chocolate they promised the children?
Go ask.
Now you are promising cocoa drink.
Well, this one, it has been signed and sealed, so in the shortest possible time,
I hope they don't come and say that because the children are drinking cocoa drink, they have fulfilled the chocolate, one child promise.
So here's the Minister of Education. He's excited. He said the Minister of Education said after signing the MOU that the nutrition of every child in school remained one of the priorities of government and the ministry. So this is the quote. This is why I am happy to sign the MOU between Niche Confectionery Ghana and the Ministry of Education. The MOU will allow Niche Confectionery to distribute chocolate beverages to primary school children in selected public schools across the country with preference given to cocoa growing communities. This partnership will help make President Akufo-Addo's vision of ensuring that every child has access to a cocoa beverage a reality.
Okay. So it says selected schools,
especially in cocoa growing communities.
So it's not all basic schools across the country.
even though the opening paragraph of the story had said all schools, children across the country.
And then the minister is saying selected schools.
Yes, please. And with specific emphasis on those in cocoa growing communities.
So you see, it is the inconsistencies in such reports that generates the kind of doubts that we all underline here. Whose report should we believe? Ghanaian Times says fire service management personnel tango over 8 million cedis pension funds. Please don't let go of the daily guide. But this one in the Ghanaian Times, Julius Kono is the chief fire officer. Now, 5, we understand, according to this paper, is also reporting that GJ elections handover to take place by June 30. Finally, there's a date. Now, with the Cocoa Board 271.3 million financial loss case, 5 subpoenaed to testify. 5 persons have been subpoenaed by the Accra High Court to give evidence in the ongoing trial of former CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Stephen Kwabena, accused of causing financial loss to the state in a fertilizer deal. The court, presided over by Justice Clemens Honyenuga, a Supreme Court judge sitting with additional responsibility as a High Court judge, issued the order on Monday for the 5 persons to appear following a request by Samuel Kujo, counsel for Dr. Pune. Those invited to give the testimony were Reginald Eduakwa, a banker assigned to Dr. Pune at EcoBank; Samuel Amponsa, former acting head of Cocoa Health and Extension Division at the time Cocoa Board procured the Litovit fertilizer; Peter Boating, deputy executive director; and then Dr. Gilbert Enin Kwapong, who was also the executive director of the Cocoa Research Institute in 2015 and 2016. All these persons have been subpoenaed. I mean, this could go on record as one of the longest trials, right? Because this Opuni trial has been running for quite a while now.
How long, yeah.
So we'll see. But assistant head teacher remanded for allegedly defiling 2 girls. Komla, the assistant head teacher of Victory Educational Complex, was last Friday remanded in police custody by the District Magistrate Court at Asenkregwa in the Western Region for allegedly defiling 2 girls. Kwame Tando, 47, pleaded guilty to the charge of defilement and will reappear before court May 5, 2022. Chief Inspector Apia Bimpong told the court, presided over by Mr. Augustine Fifi Donfo, the assistant head teacher lured the 2 girls, 11 and 12 years old, respectively, to a plantain farm. Can you imagine? To a plantain farm and had sexual intercourse with them in the plantain farm.
Wow.
Charlie.
These things still happen in this day and age.
I'm telling you. Well, the law is taking its course. But you see, unfortunately, what he has done to those 2 girls cannot be rectified. Yeah. True. Arrest warrant issued against trader for insanitary offenses, also captured in here. Civil engineer fined 600 for careless driving. Careless driving. You have it there. Come on. Yeah.
Now, let me get into this one. Government outdoors austerity measures. Yesterday, we're big on this particular story across platforms. He has the photograph of a chief of staff. He says President Akufo-Addo has finally released details of his government's expenditure rationalization measures, reducing spending by almost half of all budget approvals. Now, in a letter dated April 19, signed by Chief of Staff Akosia Frima Ose Opare, the president ordered a 30% cut in the budgets approved by the boards of state-owned enterprises. He also directed state institutions to adhere to additional directives and guidelines issued by the Minister of State in charge of public enterprises and the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, in relation to the policy. So there's a directive on vehicle purchases, there's a directive on foreign travels, there's a directive of a 30% salary cuts. There's also a directive on goods names, as well as those kinds of conferences and meetings and other engagements which see a lot of monies expended for either setting allowances or organizational costs of some of these conferences. So yeah, those are the austerity measures, quote unquote, that the government is rolling out to shore up what we know as an alien economy.
I see. And the thing that you have been doing, you still wear face masks. I still see you are one of those few people. Well, there's something with COVID on the front page of the paper you have.
Yeah.
But while I take this one, Ghanaians urge to wear nose mask despite easing of COVID-19 restrictions. It's been so rare these days seeing people with face masks. But the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, has appealed to Ghanaians to continue wearing nose masks despite the easing of COVID-19 restrictions. According to him, even though the country was recording lower numbers in terms of new COVID infections, Ghanaians must not lower their guard since the disease is still with us. You see, it's all about communication, no. So after the president spoke, no, you see, it is just about how the communication went down. Now,
Yeah.
people see it as some nuisance.
It was almost like a freedom declaration.
I'm telling
that
you.
COVID is over.
Yeah, but let's take a look at what's happening in China. Other global experts who are saying that it appears that the world is not talking about what's happening in China because we don't want to cause another panic. Yeah, but the disease is still around. Anyway.
Right, that same story is here. You know, the Ghana Health Service Director General is saying there is no new COVID-19 case currently on admission.
I see.
Yeah. So let me bring you details of this one. Still in the Daily Guide newspaper, Electoral Commission files witness statement in Jomoro MP's case. It says the Electoral Commission has filed its witness statement in the case in which the one Joshua Emwa Kofi is challenging the eligibility of a member of parliament for Jomoro, Dorcas Afutofe, to contest the seat. It will be recalled that at the last sitting, the EC indicated that it will file its witness statement before the full trial of a case on June 6. Now, in the witness statement filed at the Sekendi High Court, the EC revealed that it complied with all laws pertaining to parliamentary elections in Ghana during the 2020 elections in the Jomoro constituency. It, however, indicated if the current MP for the area had multiple nationalities, she ought to have disclosed and renounced same before filing her nomination to contest the parliamentary election. According to the EC, its returning officer Samuel Mensah, the Jomoro District Electoral Officer, complied with the constitutional and statutory obligations of the organization to conduct the parliamentary election in the constituency.
Appoint substantive gender minister. African body urges government. They say that because Ajosafo has been on leave for over a year, and there's an acting
Minister.
gender minister who also is a substantive minister of sanitation. There's something happening in there, and you know that there's actually a deputy minister of gender. So why did she not just take over with the acting position? That is another matter. We'll get into it. Now, also, you have in here on the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper, I will not entertain factionalism in Bogatanga East NPP. Aspiring chair and imbibe ideals of Nkrumah. The CPP is here, and they all have their challenges as well, with their party chair also dragging some executives to court. You have it there as well. And with your alma mater, 4 library services for GIJ. Hooray to you.
Now, the Daily Statesman newspaper, let me just get into that story we're speaking about on the Public Enterprises Minister charging the SOEs to be sustainable. Page 2 of the newspaper. Let me quickly get into it. Page 2. Great. It says the Minister for Public Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, says he believes some heads of state-owned enterprises are sitting on assets they need to utilize as a first recourse to capital injection in their organizations. He noted that government had made much investment in the SOE, saying it is time they are made to become sustainable, particularly under the stringent global business environment. Mr. Kujo made the call when he took his turn at the minister's press briefing organized by the Information Ministry in Accra yesterday.
Mida hands over substation to ECG, and you have it there. So the about $11 million primary substation. So that's going to serve the University of Ghana Medical Center and its environs. And premix fuel diversion in Keta. Police have arrested 2 persons. Minerals Commission shames Electrochem saboteurs. They say that the company went by due process. You find that in the Supreme newspaper this morning. Komla is standing by with the news in business. Stay with us.
On this frequency, 92.7, 3 FM.